إلى أن نفد التناجي وقالت الراجي وكان حدتهم شخص ميسمه ميسم الشباني ولبوسه لبوس الرهبان وبيده سبحة النسوان وفي عينه ترجمة النسوان وقد قيد لحظه بالجمع وأرهف أذنه لاستراق السمع فلما أنا انكفاؤهم وقد بلح له خفاؤهم قال لهم يا قوم ليفرق كربكم وليأمن سلبكم فسأخفلكم بما يسر روعكم ويبدو سوءكم. قال الراوي فاستطلعنا منه طلع الخفاف وأسنينا له جعالة عن سفاره.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وكان حيزتهم شخص, and opposite them was a person, ميسمه ميسم الشبان ولبوسه لبوس الرهبان. All signs on him were signs of a young man, but his attire was that of the monks. وبيده سبحة النسوان وفي عينه ترجمة النشوان. And in his hand was the rosary of women, tasbih of women, and in his eyes was the mark of giddiness from watchings, or of a drunk, intoxicated person. So what have we read up to now? They wanted to travel back to Iraq, but they couldn't find any guard and guide. So they were bewildered, confused. So they sat at Babi Jairun for mashwara, and they were confused in their confusion. Sometimes they are saying we should travel without a guard. Sometimes they're saying no, we should not go alone. So they continued in this discussion and debate until Nafidat Tanaji wa Qanita Raji. The conversation finished and the hopefuls despaired. And they were saying, nah, we can't go alone now, just leave it now. We'll wait for a few more days. We'll stay here for a few more days. And when we find some guide, we'll travel. Now, whilst these things and up and downs and screams and shoutings and mashwara was happening, there was hizatahum, opposite them, in front of them. Haza yuhazi muhazatan, kimana, to be in parallel with someone. You read in fiqh the mas'ala of muhazatul mar'ah. If a woman stands next to a man in salah, then his salah will be fasid. So muhazat means to be in parallel with someone. So opposite their majlis where they were sitting for mashwara, there was a person. Misamuhu misamu shubban. Misam is from wasama yasimu simatan, to put a mark, an alamat, and nishani on someone. So misam means alamat, nishani, sign. All signs on him, alamat, were those of youth. Shubban, plural of shabun, meaning his hair were black in color and he looked like a young person. وَلَبُوسُهُ لَبُوسُ الرُّهْبَانِ. Labus and libas, both same meaning. And the clothing he was wearing was the clothing of rahibs. Ruhban, plural of rahib, monk. His clothing looked like he's a monk. And in his hand was the rosary of women. Subhatun, tasbih, rosary, and niswan, plural of imra'atun. Jama nisa'un, niswanun. So he had the tasbih of niswan in his hand. Meaning in those days, it is the women who used to keep tasbih in their hands. And they would pray, tasbih. And in his eyes was the tarjama of Nashwan. Tarjama, mark. Alamat. Tarjama is used for bimana alamat as well. The alamat and sign of a person who is drunk. Nashwan, nashiya insha nashwatan means nasha charna, to be intoxicated. So nashwan is alif nun zaidatan ke saath sifat mushabbaha, bimana a drunk person, like sakran, nadman. وقد قيد لحظه بالجمع وأرهف أذنه لاستراق السمع. And he had fastened his gaze on the assembly, and he had sharpened his ears to steal hearing. قيد يقيد تقييدا means bandana, to tie something. So he had tied his gaze and fastened it. Lahzun means eyesight, gaze. Bil jam'i meaning bil majma, with the gathering, with the assembly. He was continuously staring at the majma. He had fastened his eyesight and gaze with the assembly. Wa arhafa udunahu, and he had leaned his ear to steal hearing. Arhafa yurhifu irhafan ke ma'ana asgha yusghi isgha'an. So he had leaned his ears like this. So he is listening closely. He's watching and he's listening from distance. لِإِسْتِرَاقِ السَّمْعِ استرق يسترق استراقا, from سرق يسرق سرقا. Saraqa means to steal. Istaraqa also means steal. To stealing the hearing. إِلَّا مَنِ اسْتَرَقَ السَّمْعَ فَأَتْبَعَهُ شِهَابٌ مُبِينٌ. So he kept his ears leaned to steal the hearing of the conversation. فَلَمَّا أَنَا إِنْكِفَاؤُهُمْ, and when their turning back became close, meaning they're retreating and going back to their places, maybe their hotels or tents, was closed. And وَقَدْ بَرِحَ لَهُ خِفَاؤُهُمْ, and their concealed matter had become clear to him. Their secret had become manifest to him. Ana yani aniyan means qareeb aa jana. To qareeb aa gaya. Inkifa'uhum, kafa yakfiu, kafan ke mana ulatna. If you put the glass upside down, so it's called kafa al ina. And in kafa ke mana khud ulatna. To inkifa over here means ruju. Their returning back to their places was very close. And qad bariha lahu khifa'uhum, bariha yabrahu barahan ke mana ظهر يظهر ظهورا, from باب سمع. قالوا لن نبرح عليه عاكفين لا أبرح حتى أبلغ مجمع البحرين. And خفية يخفى خفاء means to be hidden. Their secret had become exposed and manifest to him. He realized what the dilemma was. قال لهم, he said to them, يا قوم, O people, ليفرخ كربكم وليأمن سربكم. Let your anxiety be removed and let your heart be at ease. Let your mind be at peace and tranquil. فسأخفركم بما يسر روعكم ويبدو طوعكم. Because I will guard you with that which will pull off your fear and show itself as your obedient. Ya qawm, O people, liyufrikh karbukum. Karbun means anxiety, worry, bechani. Your anxiety, liyufrikh, should be removed. Farkh literally means choosa, chick, bird, which comes out of the egg. So the egg splits open and the chick comes out. So liyufrikh means it should come out, meaning liyazhab and liyankashif. Your karb and anxiety should come out and it should be removed and taken away. And liya'man sirbukum. Amina ya'manu, amanan means to be secure and safe. And sirbun means heart and mind. Let your heart and mind be at peace and safety. Because sa'akhfurukum khafara yakhfuru khifaratan means to guard and guide. I will guard you. I will be your khafir and guard throughout your journey. I know the route, and I will guide you. Bima yasru rawakum, I will guide you and guard you with something which will take away all your fears. Sara yasru sarwan, meaning kashafa yakshifu kashfan, dur kar dena. And is used for, when ladies put some bleach or something on their face and remove all the facial hair or something. That's called Sara Yasru, to remove and clean the face. So Bima Yasru, that which will take away and remove Raw'akum, your fear. فلما ذهب عن إبراهيم الرعو راعى يروع روعا غبرانا چونكانا ويبدو طوعكم, which will appear to be in accord with you. Bada yabdu buduwan zahiruna. Taw'un means ta'i', farmabardar, obedient, which will prove to be your obedient. Qala al-Rawi, the narrator says, فَاسْتَطْلَعْنَا مِنْهُ تِلْعَ الْخِفَارَةِ وَأَسْنَيْنَا لَهُ الْجَعَالَةَ عَنِ السَّفَارَةِ. Then we asked him to show us concerning the secret of his guardianship, and we promised him a higher wage for his safiri and traveling. Istatla, yastatli'u, istitla'an means istakhbara, yastakhbiru, istikhbaran, पूछना. तो इत्तिला मालूम करना. So we asked him the information of til al khifara. Til'un over here means sirrun, the secret information of khifara, of his guiding and guarding. How? What is the secret of his guarding? And asnaina, asna yusni isna'an means rafa'a, rafa'na. Al-ja'ala masduri, the wage. We promised to lift and raise his wage for his safiri and ambassadorship and traveling with us. فَزَعَمَ, he claimed, أَنَّهَا كَلِمَاتٌ لُقِّنَهَا فِي الْمَنَامِ لِيَحْتَرِسَ بِهَا مِنْ كَيْدِ الْأَنَامِ, that there are a few sentences which were taught to him in a dream so that he may protect himself from the scheming of people. زعم يزعم زعما, دعوى करना, to claim. كلمات, few words. لقن يلقن تلقينا, sikhana bulwana, which were done. Talqeen was done to him, he was taught. في المنام, in dream. ليحترس, احترس يحترس احتراسا, معنى to protect yourself, guard yourself. من كيد الأنام, كيد كاد يكيد كيدا, plot, scheme, from the scheming of people. فجعل بعضنا يومض إلى بعض ويقلب طرفيه بين لحظ وغض. So some of us began to wink at the other and to move his eyes between glancing and lowering. جعل بمعنى شرع. أومض يومض إيمازا, आंख से इशारा करना, to wink. So some of us began to sharpen their eyes and being, oh baap re baap, ye to khab ki baatein ho rahi hai. He's talking about dreams. He's going to take us and travel with us with something from a dream. So it looks like fishy. And yuqallibu, and began to move away and turn his eyes between lahzin wa ghaddin. Yuqallibu, palatna, tarf ki maana nigah, la yartaddu ilayhim tarfuhum. And lahzun, lahaza yalhazu, lahzan means to glance and to look, and ghadun means to look down. So he was turning his eyes between looking and lowering. وَتَبَيَّنَ لَهُ, so it became clear to him, evident to him, أَنَّنَا إِسْتَضْعَفْنَا الْخَبَرِ, واستشعرنا الخبر, that we have thought that his information is weak, and we have realized it to be futile. تبين فلما تبين له أنه عدو لله تبرأ منه إن إبراهيم لأواه حليم. To become clear, استضعف أن حسبه ضعيفا. So we thought that his khabar and the news of the dream is weak. And استشعرنا شعر يشعر شعورا ولكن لا يشعرون, to feel, perceive. And خبير يخبر خبرا, meaning kamzuri also means futile, being futile and weak, that we have perceived and thought that his information of dream is weak, and we are thinking of just leaving it there and not going with him, not taking him as a god. So qala, he said, ma balukum, what is wrong with you? Ittakhaztum jiddi abasa, you take my haqiqat for a joke. وَجَعَلْتُمْ تِبْرِي خَبَثًا, and you have made my pure gold a dross, as dross. Jiddun haqiqat, reality. Something which I have mentioned with reality, you've taken it as abath and bekar and useless. And ja'altum tibri, tibrun means pure gold, raw gold which has just been pulled out of the earth. And khabath means rust. You have made my pure gold, taken it as something which is rusty. وَلَطَالَمَا وَاللَّهِ جُبْتُ مَخَاوِفَ الْأَخْطَارِ وَوَلَجْتُ مَقَاحِمَ الْأَخْطَارِ. And many a times by Allah have I gone through fearful tracts, and I have thrust myself into deadly dangers. وَلَطَالَمَا, lam is for ibtida, and tala to be long, and ma is kaffa anil amal. جُبْتُ جَابَ يَجُوبُ جَوْبًا وَثَمُودَ الَّذِينَ جَابُوا الصَّخْرَ بِالْوَادِ, tawaf karna, chakkar lagana, to roam around. مَخَاوِفَ الْأَخْطَارِ, makhawif is plural of khawf, ala khilaf al-qiyas. And akhtar is plural of qutrun, and qutrun means distant land. So I have roamed around fearful tracts and distant lands. وَوَلَجْتُ مَقَاحِمَ الْأَخْطَارِ, وَلَجَ يَلِجُ وُلُوجًا, kimana, to force entry into something. I have entered and I have thrust myself into maqahim al-akhtar. Maqahim, a plural of maqham, and aqhama yuqhimu iqhaman, kimana, apne aap ko zabardasti chhalang marna. فَلَقْتَحَمَ الْعَقَبَةَ وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا الْعَقَبَةُ. And akhtar is plural of khatar, risky, dangerous. I have entered myself in deadly, dangerous places. فَغَنِيتُ بِهَا عَنْ مُصَاحَبَةِ خَفِيرٍ أَوْ اسْتِصْحَابِ جَفِيرٍ. And with these kalimat of dua, I have been mustaghni and not in need of accompanying and taking in company a guard, or taking with me a quiver. Ghaniya yaghna ghina'an ke ma'na, to be enriched. It means to be made independent and free. And musahabati khafir, sahaba yusahibu musahabatan, saat lena. And khafir, we guard, muhafiz. So with these kalimat, I was free and not in need of accompanying and taking in my company a guard, or istishabi jafir, istishaba sahat lena. And jafir means tarkash, in which there are arrows, or taking with me a quiver. ثم إنني سأنفي ما رابكم وَأَسْتَسِلُّ الْحَذَرَ الَّذِي نَابَكُمْ. Then I will remove what creates doubt in you, and I will draw away the distrust that has come over you. नफ़ायन फी नफ़ियन के माना दूर करना, ख़त्म करना. मा राबकुम राब यरीबु रईबन, शक में डालना. व अस्तसिल्लु सल्ल यसुल्लु सल्लन के माना तलवार नयाम से निकालना. सल्ल सैफा, he pulled the sword out of the sheath. To astasillu, I will draw out and pull out. Al-hadar, hazira yahzaru hazaran, ke mana chaunkna, darna, to be fearful. I will draw away the fear which has overcome you. Naba yanubu nauban, pesh ana. Biyan uwafiqakum fil badawa wa urafiqakum fis samawa. By giving you company in the desert and staying with you in the Samawa jungle. Wafaqa yuwafiqu, muwafaqatan, muwafaqat karna, to be in consent. And badawa, badayabdu, badawatan means to go out on the outskirts in the deserts. So I will give you my consent and I will be agreeing with you in the desert, and I will be your rafiq and your companion in the Samawa jungle, which is the deadliest of jungles in Africa. Even if we have to go through the Samawa jungle where there is risk at all corners, I will be your rafiq. فَإِن صَدَقَكُمْ وَعْدِي فَأَجِدُّوا مَسْعَدِي وَأَصِدُّوا جَدِّي. Then if my promise has spoken you true, then you ajiddu mas'adi, then renew my wheel and prosper my fortune. Ajiddu ajadda yujiddu ijdadan का तर्जमा यहाँ किया अक्सिरू. And mas'adi, sa'id yas'adu sa'adatan, good fortune. Good fortune here means ata, an allowance. So if my promise is true and I take you back safely, then increase my atiyya and gift. And as'idu jaddi, and make prosperous my good fortune. As'ada yus'idu is'adan, ke maana khush nasib karna, to make something fortunate. And jaddun means nasib, my hissa, my nasib. Make my good fortune prosperous. وَإِن كَذَبَكُمْ فَمِي فَمَزِّقُوا أَدَمِي وَأَرِيقُوا دَمِي. And if my mouth has lied to you, then tear apart my skin and pour out my blood. Kazaba yakzibu, to tell a lie. Mazdaq yumazziqu tamziqan, part dena, tukde tukde kar dena, cheer dena. So tear apart my adam. Adam and adim means skin. So tear apart my skin. And ariqu dami, araqa yuriqu iraqatan ki mana bahana, to pour out and pour out my blood. قال الحارث بن همام, बाद में पढ़ना यहाँ से, तर्जुमा कर लो शुरू से. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. And opposite them was a person whose marks were the marks of a young person, but his libas was the libas of monks. And in his hands was the rosary of women, and in his eyes was the sign of a drunk. And he had fastened his gaze with the assembly and lowered his ears to steal the hearing. So when their turning back was very close, whilst their secret had become manifest to him, he said to them, O people, let your anxiety be removed and let your hearts be at peace. Indeed, I will guard you with something that will draw away your fears, and it will appear to be your obedient. Ravi says, so we inquired from him the secret of his guarding, and we raised for him the wages for his ambassadorship. So he claimed that they are few words which he was taught in a dream, so that he may protect himself from the scheming of people. So some of us began to wink with his eyes to the other and turn his gaze between gazing and lowering. And it became clear to him that we had thought his information as weak, and we had perceived some wariness and weakness in it. So he said, what is with you that you have taken my real stuff as futile and useless, and you have made my pure gold as rust? And indeed, many a times by Allah, I have traveled in the fearful tracts, and I have entered and jumped into dangerous places and deadly dangers, and I have been free and not in need of taking with me a guard or carrying with me a quiver. Then indeed I will remove that which has created doubt in you, and I will take away the fear that has appeared in you by agreeing to travel with you in the deserts and giving you rifaqat and company even in the Samawa jungle. Then if my promise has spoken you the truth, then increase my good fortune and make good my nasib and good fortune. And if my mouth has lied to you, then tear apart my skin and pour out my blood. قال الحارث بن همام, बाद में पढ़ना है, थक गया मैं, जाओ भागो यहाँ से, याद कर गया ना बराबर.